Alright, the only time I'm going to talk about Halo Infinite on the channel is when new content comes out for it. So if you look on my channel, you may have noticed that it's been a hot minute since there's been anything to discuss. On July 19th, 2022, a new narrative event, Alpha Pack, began. It continues the story that was set up from the Season 2 launch event, Interference. This event is set up the same way as any of the other previous events. 2 weeks, 10-item event pass, and event challenges that grant bonus XP, as well as progression towards the event pass. This event brings the new mode, Last Spartan Standing. Wait, no, that's not right. Last Spartan Standing isn't new. Oh yeah. Last Spartan Standing has been in the game since the launch of Season 2. The only thing remotely different about it from the Interference event is the fact that you're not only on the map Breaker. Now, you can play Last Spartan Standing on any of the maps. But guess what? That also isn't new. Every map has been playable since Interference ended. Halo Infinite is in a sad state. This is the content that is meant to hold us out until Forge, and it's just not enough. Interference started on March 9th, and 41 days after that, we got Fracture Entrenched. Between the first Fractured appearance and now Alpha Pack was 50 days. Fracture Entrenched happened 2 more times in between that. I would say that the rate of the content is drip feed, but there truly has not been any content besides cosmetics since May 24th. When the first time Entrenched rolled around, they gave us Land Grab. Since then, no new modes have been added. I love the cosmetics in Alpha Pack. The cosmetics are the reason I play this game, it's what I enjoy. But the way to acquire the cosmetics make me despise playing this game. Going out of the way to play the game the way it wants me to sucks. Like when I have to get melees instead of shooting in Last Spartan Standing. Or maybe getting top 4 in a Rumble Pit match. Some may argue that it should be a non-issue because you can get the challenges naturally, so you don't have to go for them. That's not true. If I were playing Halo Infinite naturally without the challenge system, I'd never play Rumble Pit or Last Spartan Standing. I just hate free-for-all modes. Evidence of this is the fact that I haven't played Last Spartan Standing since the end of Interference, and Rumble Pit I only play when I have challenges for it for the weekly ultimate. Side note, of the entire time I've played Season 2 and of the many games I've begrudgingly played in Rumble Pit, I've had normal oddball on Livefire so many times, and never once seen Ninja Slayer. I'm truly convinced that it's not in the game. Let me know if that's your experience with it, because it's honestly mine. I seriously pity the developers when it comes to the feedback for these events, but I also get mixed messages from them. For example, they understand that some people hate the Battle Royale Lone Wolf style of Last Spartan Standing, so they made it so each challenge is worth 2 tiers in the event pass instead of 1. So you only need to have 5 challenges completed in over 2 weeks instead of 10. Awesome, good, great, fun change. But they love to sneak in a little thing to mess it up. You know, the challenges themselves. Let's see, kills, good. Score, good. Matches played, sure. Melee kills? I mean, I have to put myself out of the way in Last Spartan Standing to get these, but it's not the worst. Back smacks. What is wrong with you? Do you play your game? I have to either hope someone doesn't own a headset and can't hear me coming, or that I stumble across active camo and they don't see me coming. Challenges should not have to rely on the enemy to do something. It's too specific and really frustrating to go for it. Now technically, Alpha Pack did do some new stuff for Last Spartan Standing. It changed the weapon ladder from the original Last Spartan Standing, as well as changed the power-up system. So now you only spawn with a Disruptor instead of the Sidekick, because 343 felt like people held on to it for a little too long, and that makes sense. That, and the Mangler has been removed completely. I like to think that the changes to the ladder are nice and make sense for the most part, and the only change I don't agree with personally is the Commando Sidekick combo. I'd much prefer the Commando AR because I don't like running 2 precision weapons at the same time. Beyond changing the original ladder, They also added a new final tier. Instead of capping at the BR and Bulldog, we also have a BR and Energy Sword. It's an insanely powerful combo that makes you super effective from both mid-range and very close range. Honestly, I like the sword, but it's honestly screwed me more than it's helped me, and I've tried to be fancy and use it, but it ends up not working out. Regardless, it's a fun addition to the sandbox, and I've never had issues with it, though I've seen impressions online where people wish the sword was taken out entirely. Now, in the original Last Spartan Standing, power-ups were crucial and really felt like an automatic win button whenever you got one, because of how easily you could chain them. This iteration of Last Spartan Standing changes the power-ups a good amount. Now, equipment can spawn in drop pods as well as on the map. And while this does alleviate some pressure of the constant power-up spam every life, it further emphasizes the win button feeling for when you find one of the classic camo or overshield power-ups. In the original run, it felt like maybe you could hold on to an overshield knowing that the other person also likely has one. Now, good luck finding one. They're way too scarce around the map. Honestly, it'd be better if they took out camo and overshield entirely. That, or they marked it on the map for everyone to fight over. It's the first time I've played on Last Spartan Standing on the other maps, and they play fine. Initial spawns are weird, but I've also had some really bad final spawns, but there isn't much you can do about that. Because this mode isn't for me, it's the epitome of fine. And that's pretty much all there is to say about the game type featured in the Alpha Pack narrative event. It's a good improvement on the initial Last Spartan Standing, but it doesn't feel special or like an event. It just feels like a mode overhaul that they waited to put out. Although, this is more than what has been done for the Fractured Entrenched event, where it's just land grab over and over and over again. I am honestly and truly huffing hopium and copium that these season's events are really poor as a way to get ahead for the next season and let Forge releasing in Season 3 become somewhat of a soft relaunch for the game. That way it can become where it really should have been a year ago. There is another part of this event though. It's a narrative event, and so there's narrative. And Alpha Pack is a real disappointment when it comes to its narrative aspect. A lot of people online are disappointed that our multiplayer Spartan isn't in the cutscene. A lot of people have this expectation because of how they appear in the earlier cutscene. But here's the thing. Our Spartan didn't technically appear in the last event's cutscene. The last event's cutscene consisted of Agrena telling us to go play on Breaker to make Iridus mad. The one with our Spartan was the Season 2 intro. That means realistically, we'll only get a cutscene like that every 6 months at this rate. 343 wanted an ongoing narrative for the multiplayer, something for our Spartans to experience. Interference in Alpha Pack's cutscenes and stories pretty much just boil down to a Spartan talking to you and then telling you to play a game mode. That's it. At the end of the event, they come back, same position, same location, and say, wow, you played that game mode really well. It's so boring and feels incredibly cheaply made. Something this short does not have to be this meaningless. These cutscenes should start with the intro, introducing the problem to us, and then for the outro, maybe a post-credits-esque tease for the next event and how the story's gonna keep going. But instead we've had nothing for these two events. The most disappointing and shocking aspect of these narrative events is the fact that there are no other narrative events announced for this season. Going back to the roadmap from a few months ago, Interference and Alpha Pack are the only narrative events, and this might be all we get for another few months until Season 3 rolls around. Alpha Pack is the epitome of Halo Infinite. Half-baked and full of the same old tired material for months now. I think my number one biggest issue with the event, and the last few events, is how the game mode that's supposed to be part of the event has already been in the main game. It's fine if it stays in the game, but don't bring it back and act like it's something truly event worthy. It's the furthest thing from it. That about wraps it up. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.